Welcome to the latest edition of Football News. Today, we'll discuss the biggest stories in the world of football. Neymar wants to return to Europe. Is it true that the Brazilian hopes to get a second chance at Barcelona? And how is this related to his performances at Santos? Disaster at Arsenal. Kai Havertz is out for the rest of the season, leaving the club without strikers. What does this mean for the Gunners and their title race? Real Madrid demolishes Manchester City. How did Los Blancos handle the citizens without their key defenders? And why do they now want to sign William Saliba? Barcelona extends Lewandowski's contract. The Polish striker will stay at the club for several more seasons. João Cancelo could join Manchester United. Will the transfer happen in the winter window? Liverpool is ready to let Darwin Nunez go. The Uruguayan hinted at a potential move to Saudi Arabia. Bayern wants to sign Florian Wirtz. How realistic is it that the German giants can lure the Bayern star away? Atletico enters the transfer market. The club is looking to sign Fermin Lopez and Paulo Dybala. Can they compete for these transfers? We are talking about this and much more today. This is a hot selection of the most interesting football news. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and like this video to get more news about our favorite game. Your support is very important to us. Let's get started. The KDNSR publication came out with a bold headline. Neymar dreams of returning to Europe and hopes for another chance at Barcelona. It's worth remembering that the Brazilian recently signed a contract with his boyhood club, Santos. But according to many media outlets, this is just a temporary stage in his career. Allegedly, he could leave Brazil as early as this summer and try to establish himself in a top club once again. However, his debut for Santos was, to put it mildly, far from impressive. Neymar himself explained this with several factors. First, he was not happy with the ball used in the Brazilian league. With all due respect to the suppliers, the penalty ball needs improvement. Felipe Luis has already spoken about this, and I completely agree with him, said the Brazilian. Second, he emphasized that he still needs time to regain full fitness. Physically, I feel better than in the last match, but it's impossible to fully recover in just one day. I think I need 2 or 3 more games, and then I'll be back in top form. We have 3 finals ahead, and I'm confident that I can reach my best level, he added. In other words, once he has the right ball and enough time, he will once again be able to compete for a spot in a top club. But let's look at the situation realistically. Santos might be his last chance to prove himself and attract attention from European teams. At 33, it's still possible to perform at a high level. Just look at Salah, who remains a key player for Liverpool. However, if Neymar can't shine even in the Brazilian league, what is he going to do at Barcelona? Sit on the bench? Or spend most of his time recovering from yet another injury while earning an astronomical salary? It's unlikely that Joan Laporta would be interested in such a scenario. So despite Neymar's hopes, his future in Europe remains highly uncertain. As the saying goes, expectations are one thing, but reality can be completely different. Kai Havertz suffered a hamstring injury during Arsenal's training camp in Dubai, and according to journalist David Ornstein, is out for the rest of the season. This is a major blow to the Gunners' ambitions, as the team is already almost out of strikers. Yes, they still have Leandro Trossard, or Trossard, depending on preference, but he is more suited as a super sub rather than a key playmaker in attack. There is also 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, but relying on him in the title race is quite a risky move. Moreover, he recently recovered from a muscle injury himself. Arsenal's biggest problem is a full-blown injury crisis. The list of absentees now includes Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Ben White, and Takahiro Tomiyasu. It seems like no Premier League club could withstand such a setback. Earlier, Manchester City dropped out of the title race due to a similar situation, and now Arsenal faces the same risk. In the end, the title might simply go to the team that manages to avoid a wave of injuries. This once again highlights how overcrowded the football calendar is. The number of matches keeps increasing, and as a result, we are seeing more and more injuries. Until something changes, top clubs will continue to suffer injury crises year after year, leaving teams and fans disappointed. For Arsenal supporters, patience is the only option for now. Without Havertz and other injured leaders, their Premier League title chances have taken a serious hit. Real Madrid, even without their best defenders, managed to confidently handle Manchester City. The citizens looked too cautious and failed to properly test the Los Blancos' defense. In the end, they only have themselves to blame. For the second leg, Real will get reinforcements in the form of David Alaba and Antonio Rudiger, meaning breaking through Madrid's defensive lines will become even harder. It will be especially tough for Erling Haaland. This time, he did manage to find the back of Real's net, but Rudiger, known for his aggressive playing style, will likely do everything to shut the Norwegian down again. After such a performance, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez can feel confident. His decision not to sign a new center-back in the winter seems to have paid off. However, the season is far from over, and it remains to be seen whether this choice will come back to haunt them in the Champions League or La Liga. Nevertheless, this summer, Real will undoubtedly enter the market for a new defender, and by the looks of it, not just any player, but a true star. According to Le Temps, Madrid is planning to sign William Saliba from Arsenal. Moreover, the Frenchman has reportedly already given his approval, seeing this move as the opportunity of a lifetime. The report also claims that none other than Kylian Mbappé is involved in the negotiations. He personally requested Perez to sign Saliba and is willing to act as an intermediary to convince the defender not to pass up this chance. It's worth noting that Saliba has significantly improved recently. He even changed Didier Deschamps' opinion, as the French coach had long been reluctant to trust him. During the Euros, the French defender was one of the best players in his national team. Arsenal remains a serious club, but the lack of major trophies could play a decisive role. For Saliba, moving to Real Madrid means competing for titles every season and playing alongside Mbappé, Camavinga, Chouameni, and possibly Ferland Mendy. If this transfer goes through, Real will secure a center-back capable of strengthening the team for the next decade. And Mbappé is already starting to influence the future of Los Blancos, and seemingly for the better. Barcelona's sporting director, Deco, shared the club's transfer plans and revealed which players the Catalans are looking to sign in the near future. At the moment, we don't need to bring in 4 or 5 new players. We are happy with our squad, and we have fewer concerns about signings than before. Manchester City spent $200 million, but we can't afford that just yet, the Spanish press quotes him as saying. Of course, Barcelona cannot compete financially with City for now. But as history has shown, money alone doesn't always guarantee success. City fans learned this the hard way after their recent match against Real Madrid. Nevertheless, Barca has managed to find funds for one important deal. According to Mundo Deportivo, the Catalans have extended Robert Lewandowski's contract, and an official announcement is just around the corner. By the time you watch this episode, the club may have already confirmed the deal. The new agreement runs until 2026, extending his current contract, which was set to expire in the summer of 2025, by 1 year. The details of the deal have not yet been disclosed, but it is known that Lewandowski is one of the highest-paid players in La Liga. Reports suggest that his contract was structured cleverly. Each year at the club, the Polish striker's salary increases, following a kind of financial ladder. This contract structure was likely linked to Barca's financial difficulties at the time of Lewandowski's signing. The club couldn't offer a full contract up front, so the payments were spread over several years. Extending Lewandowski's contract is a smart move. Since Barcelona cannot afford $200 million transfers at the moment, keeping an experienced striker is a logical decision. In the meantime, the club can save money and find a worthy successor. After all, as we know, a top-class striker is always an investment worth hundreds of millions of euros. João Cancelo made his move to Saudi Arabia too soon, but the main reason wasn't his level of play. It was his difficult character. At one point, Julian Nagelsmann criticized the fullback for his lack of effort in training, and Pep Guardiola, according to rumors, parted ways with the Portuguese player due to discipline issues. Yet this season, Manchester City could have used his services. That way, Kyle Walker wouldn't have had to play through injuries. However, when it comes to City's defensive struggles, Cancelo wouldn't have helped much. After all, he's a fullback in the mold of Roberto Carlos, Marcelo, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, where attacking impact clearly outweighs defensive abilities. One of the main reasons Cancelo couldn't stay in Europe was precisely his style. Not every club can afford to have a defender who is more attack-minded while also demanding a high salary. However, Cancelo might return to a top league soon. According to Todo Fichajes, Manchester United is showing interest in signing him. The Red Devils are undergoing a squad rebuild, and Ruben Amorim uses a system with 3 center-backs, where Cancelo could fit in perfectly. Serginho Dest and Diogo Dalot can cover both flanks, allowing Amad Diallo to focus more on attacking duties. The only question is how realistic Cancelo's financial demands are, given that he has grown accustomed to Saudi wages. On the other hand, if he finds common ground with Amorim, especially since both are Portuguese, a return to the Premier League could be a great option for him. He knows the league well, has plenty of experience, but the real question is, will he have the motivation? Meanwhile, another former Benfica player, Darwin Nunez, could be heading to Saudi Arabia as soon as this summer. Liverpool refused to sell the Uruguayan to Al Nassr in the winter simply because they didn't have a replacement lined up. However, the striker recently dropped a cryptic hint about a possible move. "I have 5 cars, 3 in Spain, 2 in England. I need more money. I'm moving to Saudi Arabia." Of course, it was a joke, but fans took it differently. Some found Nunez's words inappropriate, while others saw a hint of truth. Perhaps the Uruguayan is genuinely considering a change of scenery and an end to his struggles in front of goal at Liverpool. Whether he would have a better chance of fulfilling his potential in Saudi Arabia is a big question. But if Middle Eastern clubs maintain their interest, this could be one of the most talked-about transfers of the summer. Bayern Munich's honorary president, Uli Hoeneß, has admitted that the club is interested in signing Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Florian Wirtz. "We want to sign Wirtz, but he still has a long-term contract with Leverkusen. Our chances? I'd say no more than 10%, Hoeneß told Bild. However, calling Wirtz's contract long-term is debatable. It expires in 2027, meaning there isn't much time left to determine his future. And Hoeneß's skepticism might be unnecessary. Bayern Munich is the Bundesliga's top predator, and when the Bavarians set their sights on a player, very few can resist their offer, especially if they're German. So ruling Bayern out of the race would be a mistake. In fact, Hoeneß has essentially sent Wirtz a signal. If the player himself pushes for the move, that 10% chance could quickly turn into 75%. Of course, Bayern isn't planning to pay the $160 million that Bayer wants, so the price could be the deciding factor. But if both sides find a compromise, this transfer would make perfect sense. On paper, a Wirtz-Harry Kane partnership looks outstanding, a blend of youth and experience that could make Bayern even stronger. His market value has already reached $140 million according to Transfermarkt, and that figure could rise even further if he continues to progress. Now the only question remains, can Bayern Munich turn this dream transfer into reality? Atletico Madrid had an impressive summer transfer window, strengthening their squad with players like Conor Gallagher, Robin Lenormand, Alexander Sorloth, and Julian Alvarez. For a club that traditionally avoids spending huge sums, these are significant investments. Los Colchoneros have always been cautious with their finances, especially after the pandemic when their economic situation was far from ideal. At one point, there were even rumors about a possible sale of the club. However, Atletico has now stabilized and is once again active in the transfer market. According to El Nacional, their next major signing could be Fermín López. In the winter, Barcelona received offers for the talented midfielder, but Hansi Flick insisted on keeping him. The Blaugrana coach believed López was crucial for squad rotation, and that replacing him would be difficult. However, the 21-year-old midfielder needs consistent playing time, and competition at Barca is extremely high. At Atletico, he would have a much better chance to prove himself, and the club is reportedly ready to pay $50 million for him. The price seems fair, so both Barcelona and the player himself have something to consider. Beyond López, Atletico is also monitoring Paulo Dybala. According to Todo Fichajes, this transfer is personally being pushed by Diego Simeone, who has been asking the board to sign his compatriot for several seasons. The Argentine's contract with Roma expires in a year, and his release clause is only $12 million. Even with his high wages, making this deal happen wouldn't be too difficult if Simeone can convince Dybala that this is the right move. This transfer makes even more sense considering that Antoine Griezmann is contemplating ending his European career and possibly moving to MLS. Atletico may soon need a new attacking leader, and Dybala could be the perfect fit for that role. It looks like the Madrid club is preparing for another busy summer, and if they manage to complete these deals, the squad will receive a significant boost. Former Manchester United head coach Erik ten Hag could take over Feyenoord. At least that's what some media outlets are reporting. At the moment, the team sits in 5th place in the Dutch league and recently defeated AC Milan 1-0 in the Champions League. Despite this, the club's management is considering replacing current head coach Brian Prisk, with Ten Hag emerging as one of the top candidates for the role. At first glance, this appointment makes a lot of sense. Ten Hag has already built a successful project at Ajax and is well acquainted with Dutch football. Moreover, the philosophies of Feyenoord and Ajax share similarities. Both clubs prioritize the development of young players. This means the coach could integrate seamlessly into the system. The only issue is the tense relationship between the fans of Ajax and Feyenoord. Anyone who follows Dutch football knows how fierce their rivalry is. However, Ten Hag's case is slightly different. His potential move to Feyenoord would come via Manchester United, which could soften the reaction from fans. Putting fan rivalries aside, this move appears to be an excellent opportunity for both parties. Now, the only question is whether Feyenoord will take the leap and how serious their intentions truly are. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and be sure to watch our previous video. It just appeared before your eyes right now. See you. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye.